Hello and welcome back to 21 Days to Fred. Welcome to day 17, Epic Fred. But we do have some business from the last couple of days. In fact, we got a lot of comments about day 15, Writing Mrs. Rogers, and people have already started asking, have you heard back from Mrs. Rogers? And the answer is, not just yet, but as soon as we do, you'll be the first to know. Now for day 16, The Kindest Star, we had some really great comments. This one here on Instagram from Stargazer Lilla, brightest star in my eyes, referring of course to Mr. Rogers' star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And Hello World on YouTube gave us a terrific comment, as usual, writing, were you nervous about walking around Hollywood in full Mr. Rogers outfit? I've lived in Southern California all my life and have yet to tour Hollywood. I think I'll make the trip this summer. Seeing Mr. Rogers' star is on the top of my list. There's much more to the comment, and you could actually check those comments on YouTube at 21 Days to Fred, and why not add something to it? We'd love to hear from you, and please subscribe if you get the chance. We're calling this Epic Fred for, well, you'll see in a couple of minutes if you stay tuned. The truth of the matter is, Fred was very epic in so many ways, and what I mean by that is he always wanted to stay current. And when you look back at some of the episodes, you'll see this to be plainly true. I remember watching one here just recently where he was driving around and explaining to all of us how electric cars worked. Funny, because it would take several decades until maybe now with Tesla and others that electric cars have really come into favor, but Fred Rogers was always trying to be cutting edge. Also, when it came to dancing, there's a famous episode where he's being taught how to break dance and testing out all the moves. It's great fun to watch, and I invite you to go back to see some of those old episodes of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. They're totally classic. And when it comes to fun, people are evolving as well. You know, my Uncle Don, who lives up at a place called Lake Arrowhead, just outside of Los Angeles here in the mountains. It's a mountain town. He was reminding me about how times do change. There's an amusement park up at Lake Arrowhead called Santa's Village. It's been there since the 1950s. Over the years, the Santa's Village here at Lake Arrowhead had sort of fallen into disrepair, and after a while, it just really wasn't able to make it anymore. But more recently, some folks purchased the park, and they did some upgrades to make it a little more epic, turned it into more of an adventure, and now they call it Sky Park at Santa's Village. My Uncle Don was so excited about the changes they had made that he invited me up to see it. So why don't you come along? Here we are at Sky Park at Santa's Village. I'm here with Uncle Don. Thanks for bringing me here. It's such an amazing place. It's been here for decades, and they've just opened it up to all sorts of fun adventure types of activities like mountain biking and hiking and all sorts of activities.
Great.
You've been coming here for how long?
A couple of years.
Yeah. What do you love most about it?
Just the people and the fun they're having. You know, all with Santa Claus theme and the fun of that. Just watching the people and the children enjoy themselves.
There's something beautiful about that.
Coach works.
Okay, we have our bike shot.
This is the frozen fall climbing, and people get in helmets and they're going to climb this tower. And there they are.
Don, you're 86 years old. How many times have you made it up to the top of that tower?
I haven't tried yet.
Well, here we are, Don. You know, one of the myths of Fred Rogers is that he was in fact a Marine sharpshooter for the military. Yeah, a lot of people believe that. It's not true. However, we thought we'd at least in spirit do some sharpshooting. So we're here with the bow and arrow, and we have targets in the back, so we'll do a little sharpshooting and see how it goes.
Okay.
All right, so here we are with the bow and the arrow. Let's give this a shot. Do some Fred Rogers sharpshooting. Hey, I hit the target. Here we are. I'm ready for a zip line experience.
Okay.
Would Mr. Rogers do this? I think so. That zip line was totally epic. And I like to think that if Fred Rogers were around today, that he might have strapped on that harness and run the zip line just like I did. You know, when I was shooting the bow and arrow, we talked a little bit about the myths that surround Fred Rogers, one of which was something that Richard Halpern talked about when we brought him in to do the voice work. And he talked about how some people thought Fred Rogers wore the long-sleeved sweater to cover up tattoos that he had on his arms. Well, it's been pretty well debunked that Fred Rogers didn't have any tattoos on his arms. And turns out, looks like Walt Keller doesn't have any tattoos either. Those of you rooting for that, sorry to disappoint, but here we go. You know, I wanted to know whether or not you might have some epic tales of epic adventures that you'd like to share with us. If you do, go right on to the comments section here on YouTube and tell us all about them. We'd love to hear them. Or check us out on Instagram at Walt Keller, or shoot me a friend request on Facebook. Thanks so much for joining us for 21 Days to Fred.